So the first scientific paper we've written with MobLab data is about 2,000 different experimental sessions. That's not 2,000 people. That's 2,000, either sometimes it's pairs of people or sometimes it's a group of, say, 10 people who are trading something among themselves. So it's a lot of data. And it's about two things, which is what happens when there's a simple supply and demand that's induced. So some people are allowed to sell things and keep the profit from a cost that they're told about. Other people can buy and keep the difference between how much they value it. That's called consumer surplus and the price. And the finding there is that there's basically no real theory of how this works, but people are able to make the most number of trades and in an efficient way, which means the people who are high on the demand curve and really value things, most of them buy, which they should, from the people who are low on the supply curve, that is the lowest cost producers. And it's almost equivalent to somebody like us looking at the supply and demand curve, like a central planner, and then assigning people to buy and sell things at a certain price. The central planner would do almost no better than people completely on their own, which is quite magical. And Vernon Smith shared a Nobel Prize for this, discovering this a long time ago, but he didn't have 2,000 different sessions and lots of different classroom experiments. The second part of the paper is about ultimatum bargaining. And ultimatum bargaining is it's the simplest kind of bargaining. One person has some money, say $10. They offer it to a second person. If the second person doesn't think they're getting enough, they say, no, nobody gets anything. So it's really about kind of fairness and how negatively reciprocal somebody is if they feel like they're offered too little money. Are they willing to give up some money to make sure that somebody who they think has been greedy isn't getting even more? And again, the beauty of the MobLab data is there's a lot of it, and it covers quite a few different countries and students of different kinds, ranging from basically high school to highly advanced economics majors who've studied all kinds of economics. And so the most interesting thing we found was that 50% is very special. So if you offer 50%, it's always accepted, much more often than 49%, even though numerically they're similar. 50 is like fairest of the fair. And they're accepted quickly because in the MobLab's platform, we can record response times, which is actually pretty important. As economists, we think of time as a scarce resource. So how quickly people are doing things or how slowly and how deliberately is a really interesting phenomenon. And so the finding from these thousands of experiments is that if you make an equal offer, it'll get accepted quickly, it's made quickly. It seems to be kind of the universal thing. And people had suspected that before, but statistically, it's really hard to tell if like 50 is different than 49%, unless you have lots and lots and lots of data. And so no previous experiment could really pin this down. It's the scope of the data. And there are also some interesting differences across countries. Like Spain, it turns out to be people offer less money and they reject a lot of offers. Now, I don't know if that's a general property of people and something about people in Spain, but it's suggestive, and it's something you can go then do lots more studies to see if there's something special about Spain or about Canada or whatever countries in our database.